Brunswick Dragons and your Ararat Eagles. Reminder that attendance at interscholastic activities at Ararat High School is a privilege. Please join us in demonstrating sportsmanship when players play, coaches coach, and referees officiate. A reminder that arguments and makers are prohibited per NPA rules. The concession stand is open and located outside the gym to the left. Bathrooms are located outside the gym doors to the left and the right. Emergency exits are located at both ends of the gym. Now for the starting lineups. First for the visiting Dragons.
Ladies, gentlemen, and BHSN fans, welcome to Mount Ararat High School for our first Battle of the Bridge with a new bridge, Robert. Yeah, I am Ethan Patterson on the mic tonight with Robert Bowen. We got Bryce Gerrish on the scoreboard and Kaz over there in the student section getting stats for us.
Yeah, the Green Bridge Classic no more. Now, I actually have not, I don't think I've laid eyes on the new bridge yet. I have not driven that way since it did come in, but what color is the new bridge, Ethan?
It's a beautiful gray color.
Okay, so the Gray Bridge Classic, our first installment.
Of course, very hyped by that music. We hope we don't get copyrighted, though. Should be a good game no matter what today. Dragons heavily favored with a 9-2 record compared to the Eagles' 2-7 record. That's Lucian Martin for the Eagles winning the tip. Logan Zulamis now with the ball. Some tight defense. Shaw defending Beal. Turnover there, stolen by Lay, but he gives it right away to Imrie. Imrie now will send it back to Beal. Beal into the front court. Here's Martin. Martin into the corner for Beal. Beal up top to Zulamis. Zulamis back and forth. He'll try to take it inside. No go. Here's Martin. Martin floats it up to Imrie. Imrie trying to fight his way into the paint, and he's got it for two.
Yeah, Ethan, these rivalry games, we saw it earlier in December when the Dragons played at Morse. These games just super high energy, two massive student sections, both the home Mount Ararat and the traveling Brunswick.
Shaw now. Shaw brings it inside. Shaw up and over to Mount Ararat defenders off the front of the rim, and no good. 2-0 lead here for the Eagles. Beal. Beal looking for Norton. No good. Able to collect his own missed pass. Eventually finds Norton, as Norton finds Zulamis for a long three. No good off the rim, as Logan Gray is taken down, going in for the rebound by Norton, and we're going to have a foul on Norton there.
Yeah, Ethan, this is Logan Gray's first game back after his suspension from a double dunk technical, a rule that only exists in the state of Maine, where on Thursday in a big win against Freeport, Logan dunked the ball twice and hung on the rim for a little bit of time and ended up getting suspended or ejected from that game and then suspended. Those videos were apparently passed around the league to various sets of officials, and they all agreed that Logan should not have been ejected. So, very interesting thing to monitor now. Number 3 back in the lineup.
That's Owen McGrath with the Dragons' first points of the night, as he hits the fadeaway two-pointer along the baseline, as Martin has got it in now for the Eagles. Long two, and he's got that. Quick response there on McGrath's shot. McGrath on the free throw line, passes it off to Gray. Gray looking to go inside, poked away by Imrie. Here's Zulamis the other way. Zulamis with some contact by McGrath, and he's got the two possible three-point play.
It's just deafening in this gym, Ethan. You just gotta love the atmosphere. Number 4 in white is the top player for the Eagles, and fun fact about him, Logan Zulamis hit an 81 at Litchfield Golf Course over the summer. A very impressive score.
Indeed, very impressive. We'll see how he is from the free throw line tonight. So far, so good for Zulamis, as he extends this Mount Ararat lead 7-2 now. Brendan Shaw spins around Zulamis. McGrath in the corner, fakes the three, takes it inside, kicks it out to Gray. Gray now back into McGrath, poked away by Imrie, as Owen Quinn gets a touch. Owen Quinn to McGrath. McGrath guarded by Imrie. He'll take it inside. McGrath dancing. Looked for the two. No good. Rebound gathered there by Imrie. Martin the other way. Here's Imrie with some speed. Imrie through Rylan Lay and Owen McGrath and lays it in. 9-2 lead here for the Eagles. A stunner to start as the heavily favored Dragons are down. Here's Lay. Lay, a top scorer for the Dragons, and he's got that over Martin. That's Lucian Martin, a 6'4 junior for the Eagles. Tight defense there by Quinn and Gray. Gray able to get a hand on it and force it out.
Yeah, that score by Lay is exactly what the Dragons need. They have not tried a three yet. They've had a lot of troubles from the three-point arc of late, so those crafty layups is what Lay is so great at, and they cash one in.
Here's Norton. Back to Beal. Fun fact of the night, Beal there is the cousin of Cameron Beal. Cameron Beal, a senior at Brunswick last year, played both football and basketball. Beal is called for travel there, though, so Logan Gray will inbound for the Dragons.
Short-time lacrosse player as well. Let's not forget about that.
Gray to Shaw now. Shaw will take it right into the hoop, and he's got a lane, and he's got a bucket. Brendan Shaw cuts the lead down to 3, 9-6 in favor of the Eagles. Pernell Amaya is now in for the Dragons, as Zulamis has got a corner 3. Lay spinning, Lay inside, he's fouled. Almost made it through the contact. He will head to the line for a pair.
Yeah, once again, the Dragons just have not been good from three recently. I guess in that game against Skowhegan on Saturday, they started to click more, especially with Johnny Porter and Brendan Shaw from three. But if Mount Ararat can win that side of the game, I mean, I don't think I need to explain that three is worth more than a two. So if Zulamis continues to hit those, that's going to be bad news for the Dragons.
Speaking of point totals, as you may have seen, Logan Gray is now famous from his Portland Press Herald front page appearance this morning, or I believe it was maybe last night, but there some comments left suggested that maybe dunk should count as one to discourage the dunk entirely. Robert, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, Ethan, that had to be the dumbest internet comment I've ever read, and I have read plenty of dumb internet comments. There's about 5 players in the state of Maine who dunk at a somewhat consistent rate, so that would just be very silly.
Everything falling the Eagles' way as Lucian Martin has got it too from the free throw line. Brendan Shaw taking it inside once again. Same play we saw just a few minutes ago as number 11 Jack Martin now in for the Eagles. He'll replace Emery. Zulamis looking for Martin, battling with Gray along the floor, able to get it to Norton. Beal now. Martin for three, no good, off the front of the rim, right into the hands of Brendan Shaw. Shaw out to Gray. Gray faked the three-pointer, called for a travel. Eagles now with 2 Martins on the court. We got Jack Martin, number 11, and Lucian Martin, number 32. This is going to result in an inbound for the Eagles. That's Logan Zulamis. Gets it into Beal. Defended now by Finn White. Finn White, a senior captain for the Dragons, now into the game. Almost stripped away by Pernell Myers. Now stripped away by White. And White's going to collect a foul just a few seconds into his game. Lennox Moore also making an appearance. Lennox Moore, a sophomore. Dragons known for rotating their bench in pretty early. Beal. Beal sends it over to Zulamis. Zulamis from the free throw line. He's got it. Eagles now double the Dragons score, 16-8. Pernell Myers for three, no good. Lennox Moore tripped up on the rebound, allowing Lucian Martin to get it. Here's Jack Martin now over to Norton. Norton will kick it out to Zulamis. Zulamis open for three. He's got it.
Yeah, Ethan, I believe that Pernell Myers' attempt from three was the Dragons' first shot from three. Is that correct?
I think so. And as we've seen, Dragons have struggled from the three-point line. Pernell Myers misses that one, and the Eagles have made a few from three themselves.
Yeah, that shot by Zulamis was crucial. We knew that Zulamis was going to be the best player coming into this game, and he has just been absolutely money so far. He has the majority of the Eagle points and multiple three-pointers. He's shooting the ball at an extremely high level. Very scary for the Dragons. I wonder how they are going to try to guard him now when he's shooting the ball so well. And once again, this is a Dragon team that has to play against Nolan Ames a week from Friday, I believe.
Yeah, Nolan Ames, one of those guys who you're definitely concerned about when you're playing a similar style of play here with the Eagles. They've got one really strong player in Zulamis with a pretty good supporting cast. Again, they are 2-7 on the year, but you know, as we said earlier, Robert, these rivalry games, anything can happen. So far, this Mount Ararat team has the crowd behind him, a decent showing from the Brunswick fans, but pretty quiet so far.
Ethan, does it look like Mount Ararat is settling into a zone now? It does look like that to me. The Dragons have had a lot of trouble beating zones this season, and teams have definitely seen that on film, and Mount Ararat now sitting in that 2-3 look.
Finn White now out to Gray. to Pernella Maez. Pernella Maez will sing it around to Shaw. Shaw inside, he's got Finn White. Floating it over to Logan Gray for an open three in the corner. He's got it! Logan Gray out of the timeout. Makes it 19-11. Tough defense there by Brendan Shaw. Finn White now on Zulamis. Finn White, a annoying defender to say the least. Zulamis no good on that shot, ends up on the floor.
Yeah, it seems like one of the things the Dragons are doing is a full court press to just put the pressure on the Eagle shooters, especially Zulamis, and just make those deeper shots a little tougher.
Here's Brendan Shaw looking to drive inside. He'll kick it out to Lennox Moore. Lennox Moore now using that big body of his to try to get into the paint. Kicks it out to Finn White. Back into Moore. Moore spinning. Moore. Shaw now. Shaw inside. He'll put one up and good. Brendan Shaw calls bank and he's got two. Dragons now up 5-0 after that timeout. Logan Gray stolen away. Guarded by Beal. Logan Gray is fouled by Beal. Was before the shot, so it will be an inbound here for the Dragons as they will sub in number 40, Jackson Tebow, the sole freshman on the team, to replace Finn White.
Yeah, after Zulamis hit those great shots, it was clear the Dragons needed answers from their best players. A great three by Gray, great shot by Shaw, and then a beautiful steal from Logan Gray as well. Pernell Mai is open.
Shaw bouncing to Lennox Moore, tipped away by the defense from Noah Duncan. Duncan, a senior captain for the Eagles. Number 10, Brady Hiltz, now also in for the Eagles. Moore gives it to Tebow for his first touch of the night. Tebow will bring it around the court, looking for someone. He's got Moore inside. Moore spinning. Went all the way around the rim as Brady Hiltz comes away with a rebound. Tough press there from the Dragons. Eagles able to escape with it. Here's a long two attempt from Noah Duncan. Got nothing. Tebow now. Dragons quick into the front court. Gray taking it inside, and he is called for a travel.
Ethan, it appears the Eagles have already switched out of their zone, and that is just such a great look for the Dragons. They've had trouble beating zones in the past, but the Eagles switched to the 2-3 zone. They hit those two great shots by Gray and Shaw and scared Mount Ararat right back into man.
Yeah, Eagles switching it up on defense. As the Dragons bring in Owen Quinn to replace Logan Gray. Quinn we saw earlier in the starting lineup. Great steal there by Lennox Moore, battling for it. And he's going to take it all the way and get two. Dragons now on a 7-0 run, cut the lead down to 2 with just 5 left in this first quarter. Eagles take it inside with a chance, no good. And you can almost barely hear the buzzer in here, Robert, just because it's so tight in here. Any noise that the crowd is making, it's just deafening.
Yeah, just a great run by the Dragons off of that timeout. I believe they were down 19-9 in that timeout.
19-8, yeah.
19-8, so that's a 7-0 run to end the quarter. So it's such a great sign. Once again, the Dragons, the heavily favored team, sitting at number 2 in Class A North compared to the Eagles, number 11 in A North. So to go on that 7-0 run is really critical for them. But now the Eagles get their own hidden timeout here with the quarter break to try to answer back against this Dragon run.
Quick point update for the Dragons. Logan Gray with 3 from that 3 we saw just after the timeout. Brendan Shaw up to 6 now. Rylan Lay at 2 and Owen McGrath also at 2. Pretty quiet so far from Rylan Lay, just 2 points. He is the Dragons' leading scorer, so he did come off for a bit, so we expect to see a bigger second quarter out of him, try to take control here. You know, we talk about the Dragons' big 3 a lot, Brendan Shaw, Logan Gray, and Rylan Lay, so they'll hope to get that going here, try and recapture the lead. Or have they had a lead yet?
No, the Eagles did score first.
Right, so Dragons looking for their first lead of the night. again, as we mentioned, Dragons heavily favored in this crosstown rivalry. Dragons bring out their starting lineup. Ryland Lay will take it inside. Ararat knocking over themselves. That was Noah Duncan that hit the deck, opening up a lane for Lay to get the easy two. Here's Norton for three. Norton off the back of the rim. Logan Gray with the easy rebound there. Gray kicks it over to McGrath. McGrath into the middle. He'll take a mid-range two off the front of the rim and bounce right in.
That's a 11-point run now for the Dragons, and that scored by Ryland Lay. He is as shifty in the paint as anyone in the state for Maine basketball from what I've seen. Just some fantastic footwork to get the layup, and then McGrath scores another.
Zulamis out to Hilt. Norton now finds Beal. Here's Duncan. Good passing here from the Eagles as Zulamis takes a contested three by Owen Quinn, and he drains it.
What a way for the Eagles to break the run. That's just another great shot by Logan Zulamis, number 4 in white.
Brendan Shaw kicks it out to Owen Quinn. Owen Quinn takes it inside, knocks down Zulamis in the process. Zulamis slow to get up as Owen Quinn cuts the lead down to 1. Here's Beal now. Kicks it over to Zulamis. Zulamis takes yet another three. That one no good. That's a big block there by Ryland Lay. Says absolutely not to Noah Duncan. McGrath now Lay. Lay wide open. Over Zulamis. And the Dragons have their first lead of the night, 23-22.
Just both ends of the court. Fantastic play in the paint by Ryland Lay. That's what the Dragons need. They have their first lead.
Eagles take their first timeout of the first half.
That's a 16-3-point run.
Talking over the chants from the Brunswick student section, certainly a good idea. The Eagles need to change something here. Got out hot, but then things got ugly pretty quick. So we will see. Got 5:58 remaining in the second quarter, 23-22 lead for the Dragons. Robert, safe to say this is not how we expected this game to start.
Yeah, definitely not. The Dragons have had some trouble in the first half putting teams away. That makes sense, of course, both teams coming out hot. It happened against Skowhegan, really, that the game was very close in the first half, and then really it was the second half where they pulled away sufficiently, ended up winning by 18 points. Same thing happened in that other rivalry game against Morse. That game was a 1-point lead for the Dragons at halftime, and then they once again went on to win by about 20.
Eagles to make some substitutions. Eli Emery and Lucian Martin now back into the game as they saw some time earlier. Here's Beal. Beal will take it in himself, looking for Emery. Stolen away there by Ryland Lay. Ryland Lay tries to go behind the back, hit the back of his shoe, able to recollect it and hand it off for McGrath. Owen Quinn will take his time. Quinn kicks it out to McGrath. McGrath open for three. He's got it! Nothing but net for Owen McGrath as the Dragons seem to be pulling away with this one. Hard press from the Dragons has got Daniel Beal a little confused. Eagles able to get it in to Eli Emery, senior captain, who misses his layup. Dragons now come the other way with a chance to extend their lead. Blocked by Logan Zulamis. Brendan Shaw tried to kick it out for Lay, but the Eagles able to gather it. Here's Zulamis, another three. Off the front of the rim, Ryland Lay fell hard there. Lay slow to get up as Brady Hilt's able to collect it. Zulamis bounces it in for Emery. Emery's layup catches nothing but air as Ryland Lay will jog up the court. Good to see him doing okay. Looked like he kind of fell hard on his wrist there. He's checking it out. Hopefully that doesn't affect him too much. Pass intended for Lay. Poked away by Martin.
I must say, Ethan, I did not like that look by Logan Zulamis on that last Eagle possession. The Dragons have been playing so aggressive in transition, a lot of full court presses, a lot of doubles at half court, and that ended up costing them by allowing a 3-on-1 odd man rush in the offensive zone. Zulamis did not make that pass and instead pulled up from three and missed it. I would love to. He's been absolutely money shooting the ball, but might like him to move that rock next time.
Some substitutions before that inbound as we see Cooper Holmes for the Eagles for the first time tonight. Yet another travel called on the Dragons. Robert, one thing we haven't mentioned yet is Johnny Porter, the team's fourth leading scorer, is on the bench tonight. He injured his ankle in their last game. No diagnosis yet, but we hope he is taking the time to get better. They're going to need him soon coming up. They've got some tough games ahead.
Yeah, Ethan, Johnny did return to that game against Skowhegan after his injury, but appears to just have gotten worse. That's usually how it goes. You're able to run through it, play through it, but eventually once you get off of the foot for a little while, it's just going to swell up and be all stiff and hurt.
Declan Taberge now in for the Dragons. Ball finds its way into the hands of Lennox Moore. Almost taken away there by Zulamis. Brendan Shaw for three, no good. Taberge uses his big frame to get the rebound, find Moore, but Moore's layup is no good. That was Jackson Tebow trying to collect the rebound, but ended up poking it out of bounds.
This is Taberge's second consecutive game playing in the first half, and just a great couple of rebound and then a steal.
Great play there by Declan Taberge. Ends up with Jackson Tebow with the layup. Dragons now with a 6-point, 28-22 lead. Lucian Martin battles around the tough Dragons defense, and a three from the top of the arc by Jack Martin falls for the Eagles. Shaw, guarded by Zulamis, takes it inside, kicks it out. Here's Taberge coming across now. Moore inside, as we see him do commonly. Moore's going to put it up over two Eagles. Almost got his own rebound as Logan Gray pokes it away to safety for Jackson Tebow up top. Shaw will take his time now, survey his options. Tebow to Gray, almost taken away there by Holmes. Here's Lennox Moore with a rare three, no good. Got nothing on that one. Zulamis from the free throw line. Zulamis steadily picking up points here.
He's just an awesome shooter, Ethan. That's all I can say.
Logan Gray drives inside. Tripped up by, could have been called on either Holmes or Lucian Martin there. They're going to call it on Holmes. Cooper Holmes will come out in favor of Phoenix Norton. Rylan Lay in favor of Lennox Moore, and Daniel Beal back into the game. He'll take out Lucian Martin. Shaw inbounds to Tebow. Tebow to Shaw. Shaw finds Lay on the far side. Lay thinks about the three, takes it. Off the front of the rim, no good. Here comes Norton now. Tipped away by Tebow with just over 2 minutes remaining. Just beginning to wonder if Tebow is going to tuck in his uniform there. You know, you see everybody else. I think it must be a rule that you have to have your top part of your uniform, the jersey, tucked into the shorts. Tebow made a small adjustment there, got about halfway, and said, that's good enough. Norton now over to Zulamis. Zulamis tries to go back and forth on Shaw, no option, so he kicks it over to Beal on the far side. Beal's three is too strong. Brendan Shaw to collect the rebound. Logan Gray takes it left, mid-range two, trying to get his own rebound, but instead swallowed up by Eli Emery. Norton now. Norton's first shot of the night we've seen. That one looked a little awkward, no good. Zulamis now takes it along the baseline, up and over Tebow. And he's got a chance for yet another three-point play tonight, Robert.
Yeah, that's a great play by Logan Zulamis. We once again thank you for joining us here on Brunswick Sports Network. Fantastic game of basketball here with just a fantastic energy here with the battle of the new Gray Bridge. Ethan Patterson and Robert Bowen are on the call, and I'm also filming as well. Only a space for two on this purge here. We do have Kosinski doing some in-game stats, and Bryce Gerrish on our scoreboard, sponsored by Senior Domingo Courtside Real Estate.
Dragons just a 2-point lead here, going with 1:30 left in this first half. To Burge. To Burge and Tebow playing a pass across the top. Lay gets involved. Lay trying to back into the paint. He's got Tebow open. Now up to Burge up at the top of the arc. To Burge. Poked away by a flurry of Eagles on defense, as the Eagles will bring it in with 1 minute left. Zulamis spinning around Shaw. Trying to find a shot, but Shaw too close for anything. Shaw remains close. Zulamis spinning up and around as he falls down. Declan Taburge takes the gift as Rylan Lay takes it along the baseline. Slow bounce pass out to Tebow. Tebow's shoes a little slippery there, as Dragons are going to take their time now with 30 seconds left, try to get the last shot. Dragons working methodically here to end this first half. Gray bounces it around. Zulamis to Taburge. Brendan Shaw inside. Beautiful play by the Dragons. Able to pass it around. Zulamis now with 3 left. Zulamis puts up a hope just outside. And that will do it for the first half. Dragons, Eagles tied 30-30.
Ethan, I remember last year when we were in this building, the last game we called here was a Brunswick girls basketball game against Mount Ararat, of course. And I remember Mount Ararat hit buzzer beaters to end both the first and the second quarter from 3, and it was just remarkable. It was on that left hoop as well. And Zulamis tried to match that, but that came nowhere near the hoop.
Robert, as we do talk about shooting, I had a discussion with Finn White earlier, captain on the Dragons team. And as you can see over there on the right side of your screen, the Eagles have put up a solid wall covering. There's another half or so of the gym on the other side. Last year that was not the case, and it was just open space. Finn White was talking about how that kind of messed with the shot, the depth perception a little bit. So I think probably both teams are happy to see that wall there. That will do it.
Well, I've also heard that with, I believe it's when college players have to go and play in the large hockey rinks for playoff basketball games, or wherever they play those big playoff basketball games. They have a harder time shooting because of the depth perception. It's just such a larger space behind the hoop. You see that in other sports. I feel that a little bit in the sport of lacrosse. It's an interesting little thing, very underrated.
Way to make that about yourself, Robert.
Thanks, Ethan. Oh, speaking of Ethan Patterson, great goal yesterday against Coney.
Thank you, Robert. All right, that's enough about us. There's about 9 minutes remaining till we kick it off for the second half of basketball. Very exciting game. 30-30 is the score in this crosstown rivalry, Brunswick-Mount Ararat.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, across the Androscoggin River in Patterson, Maine, as your Brunswick Dragons take on the Mount Ararat Eagles in the battle of the brand new bridge. Okay, we have a great 30-30 game of basketball. The Dragons, of course, heavily favored coming in, number 2 in Class A North compared to the Eagles, number 11 in Class A North. We have Robert Bowen and Ethan Patterson still on the microphone. Ethan Patterson also filming. Double shift there. And we have Bryce Gerrish on the scoreboard, sponsored by Singer Domingo Portside Real Estate and Kosinski doing some in-game stats. Feed in by Norton. Back here to Beal. Quick push on Quinn. Another inbound.
Right, now we mentioned the Eagles are 2-7. They're the 11th seed in A North. But I think it's safe to say they are not playing like a 2-7 team right now, Robert.
I completely agree. Zulamis will inbound, caught by Norton. Norton will find Beal. Beal will look to enter the front court, and he does. Guarded by Quinn. Beal, still aggressive defense from the Dragons. Gray couldn't get the steal on Norton. Now back to Beal. Beal's open from the free throw line, but it's blocked by McGrath. Kept in bounds by Shaw. No, they'll stay with the Eagles. His foot was along in the blue paint.
Yeah, I think the Dragons might have gotten away with one there. It looked like, I couldn't tell who, but somebody got a hand on Daniel Beal's hand as he was following through there.
Zulamis will inbound, caught by Norton. Norton guarded by Gray. Will leave it off to Martin. Martin will find Zulamis. Zulamis outside to Norton. Back to Zulamis. Shaw guarding him tightly, does not want him taking those deep shots. Zulamis will bounce it straight up in the air and turns the ball over to McGrath. Not sure what he was trying to do there, Ethan.
Yeah, I think he just kind of had to get rid of the ball, or else he would have been called for probably a travel. But didn't end up working for him.
Lay gives it to Gray. Gray finds McGrath. McGrath will take it inside. Nice bounce inside to Shaw. He will be fouled.
Yeah, we continue to see this starting 5 Dragons work really well together. We usually see them start this way, and then they usually a couple minutes in, they'll start rotating guys in like Pernella Myers, Moore, and Finn White.
It does make sense for them to sub more than Mount Ararat. The Dragons have been playing a very aggressive full court press and defense tonight, whereas the Eagles seem to be playing a bit more conservative. Quinn to Shaw, a push on Mount Ararat.
Yeah, it looks like foul called on number 3, Phoenix Norton. Brendan Shaw will come up with the inbound here.
Shaw will find Quinn. Quinn is open beyond the arc. We'll give it to McGrath. McGrath leaves it off to Shaw. Shaw will take it inside. Outside, Quinn is open. Guarded by Martin. Gray, McGrath. McGrath will serve that. McGrath will drive. He's doubled. Outside to Lay. Lay guarded by Zulamis. Will take it into the paint. Will knock down Zulamis. And will draw a charge.
Yep, that's why Zulamis is one of their best players, Robert. He's good on offense, but as he's just proved to us, he's a strong defender as well.
Norton from his baseline will find Beal. Beal guarded by Quinn. Takes it in the front court. Gets that quick double. Dragons will have to do that. But the ball gets through to Emery. Has it blocked by Gray. Emery, a mulligan, again blocked. What a foul.
Yeah, really great defense there by Logan Gray. Just kept his hands up. Emery just couldn't get the shot through him. Ended up with a foul. But nonetheless, you're really happy with the defense there from Logan Gray.
2 shots for Eli Emery. No score so far here in our second half. Still 30-30. And we will get our first. And a lead for Mount Ararat.
Yeah, Eli Emery, a senior captain for the Eagles, has been pretty quiet tonight so far. He does have a left shoulder that is taped up, so possibly that could be interfering with his play.
Emery will miss his second, and a quick turnover here. Brendan Shaw with the steal. Pass was by Lucian Martin. Shaw to McGrath. McGrath has Lay. Lay will take it. Guarded by Martin. Lay spins into the paint. Will put it up and score. A very crafty play in the paint once again from the junior.
Yeah, Dragons really needed to see Rylan Lay, one of their top players, come alive. and that just might be the start of something here.
Here is Beal. Will lose it in the paint, and Gray with the steal for Brunswick. But a quick travel on Gray.
Yeah, I think that might be the third travel called on Logan Gray tonight. The other two were in the offensive front court, this one in the back court. Potentially these referees heard about Logan Gray and they just don't like him.
You know, they can't get him for dunk technicals, so they will get him for travels. Gray gets the rebound though. Will drive inside, outside Quinn is open. Lofts it up, caught McGrath. McGrath into the paint, 2 steps off the glass and he scores. Extending the Dragon lead to 3. Zulamis will cut back on Shaw. He is tripled as Quinn comes over, but the ball gets through. Beal inside. Emery outside. Beal for 3. Clanks off the front rim. Defensive rebound by Gray. Gives it to McGrath. Here's McGrath as Tebow will look to check in for the Dragons. Gray to Lay. Lay will take it into the paint once again. Outside caught by Gray. Gray. Shaw cuts inside. We'll give it to Quinn instead. Outside again to Lay. Lay will take it under the glass. Will try the reverse layup. Wouldn't fall. The rebound collected by Daniel Beal, and he gives it up court to Logan Zulamis. Zulamis, a nice pass inside to Emery, and he scores. 1-point ball game. Here is Shaw. Will give it to McGrath. McGrath will put up from the free throw line. Won't go. Rebound Zulamis. Shaw wrestles it away though and puts up the layup and scores. A great steal and score from Shaw. And a 3-point lead once again. Nice move by Beal on Quinn. Beal into the paint. Puts it up, front rim and out. Shaw rebound. Here's Shaw. Outside to Lay. Lay will spin. Here's Shaw. He'll try the 3. Won't go, hits the rim twice. Rebound here to Quinn though, off the glass, and he'll draw the foul. 2 shots for the sophomore Owen Quinn.
Yeah, Owen Quinn, a smaller guy, but not afraid to go up against the much taller 6'2" Eli Emery, able to draw the foul. He'll head to the line for a pair. Incoming, we have Jackson Tebow and Lennox Moore for the Dragons, and number 10, Brady Hiltz will replace Daniel Beal for the Eagles. This might also be a good time to shout out Singer Domingo Portside Realty for our scoreboard tonight. They're sponsoring the scoreboard, which is currently being run by Bryce Gerrish. We've got stats by Kosinski.
Here's Quinn, open from 3, won't take it, finds Gray inside, gives it off to Lay. Lay will put it off the glass and score. Great ball movement from the Dragons. It's a 6-point lead. That's their largest advantage on the afternoon. Pass here to Emery. Emery will put it up. Sorry, this is Martin. Wouldn't fall. The rebound back out to Martin. He'll try it again. Back to the rim and out. Ball is up in the air, and Logan Gray is able to collect it. A fantastic rebound from number 3 in black. Here's Lay, gives it to Quinn. Quinn, with patience, will spin inside off the glass, and the rebound this time by Emery. Here is Brady Hiltz. He'll bounce it, caught by Martin. Hiltz, Zulamis. Zulamis will find Martin. Martin puts it up too far, and the rebound is caught by Moore. We really have not seen Zulamis shoot from the outside in this half.
Yeah, Dragons have really turned it around on defense. They've held the Eagles to just 3 points.
Here's Shaw. He'll step back, surveys, finds Lay. Lay will pivot, put up, and score.
Is that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar or is that Rylan Lay?
The nifty hook shot for 2. And just a timeout by Mount Ararat.
Robert, I want to take this timeout to take a jump back to our Logan Gray dunking conversation. So this was a suggestion I had to him if he wanted to get banned from the MPA and throw down a dunk. We were talking about possible celebrations if he were to throw down a dunk tonight. I suggested that he would throw down a dunk. The Dragons call a timeout. Brendan Shaw puts him in handcuffs and takes him over to the bench. How do you think that would go over with the officials here?
I think that would go over pretty poorly. I personally suggest Of course, Logan Gray was penalized for hanging on the rim too long, even though he did it out of safety for a player being underneath him, according to Gray. So I think Gray, in response, should dunk and then just hang on the rim for a solid 30 to 40 seconds and just see what the officials do. Do they try to drag him down, or do they just wait for him to come down?
Yeah, I don't know, but you may get a misrepresentation of Logan Gray. If maybe you saw that article, you're like, this guy, he's trying to be a jock. That is the opposite of Logan Gray. Logan Gray is the nicest individual you will ever meet. He would never hurt a fly. Logan Gray, again, I think misrepresented by this whole scandal. So just so you know, Logan Gray, a great human being.
Ethan, that might be the kindest thing I've heard you say.
I do love me some Logan Gray.
Lay will get the deflection, and he'll be knocked to the floor by Martin. Honestly, that's a good foul to take if I am Lucian Martin. The ball's on the ground. The Dragons are about to pick it up and go score on an uncontested basket. Why not shove Lay to the ground and live to fight another down?
Yeah, interesting. The Eagles are going to instantly sub in 2 new guys here right off of the timeout. There's about 2 seconds that passed since the timeout, and they're already subbing.
Great pass by Moore, and Gray will not dunk, but puts it off the glass to extend that lead back to 6. Here's Beal. Will spin and find Hiltz. Hiltz gets the screen by Beal. He'll dribble and find a push by Lay.
Yeah, good call there. Rylan Ledge, a little too aggressive. We talked a lot. The Dragons' defense has been very aggressive tonight. They haven't fouled a ton, but I think that's the right call there.
Inbound is caught by Norton, guarded by Gray. Phoenix Norton, deflected by Gray. He'll collect it. Will bounce it to Beal, guarded by Shaw. Beal will bounce inside to Zublamis. Fadeaway 2, won't fall. Gray, yet another rebound. Gray will take it into the paint, put it up, and fall. Will be helped up by Shaw, Tebow, as well as Brady Hiltz.
Logan Gray will head to the line for the first time tonight. Robert, what are your thoughts on the Logan Gray shoes?
I just love them.
I'd agree with that. Yep, those are pretty beautiful.
Gray will swish his first from the charity stripe. And this is really what I mentioned has happened a few times this season. The Dragons play, I believe they had 35 on the scoreboard for the moment for Mount Ararat. It is actually 33, so it's an 11-point lead for the Dragons now, and now 12. The Dragons have been a very consistent, very strong third-quarter team this year, and they're doing it again.
Yeah, and again, they've only let up 3 points tonight, or this. Go ahead, Robert. They've only let up 3 this quarter.
They're on a 15-3 run here in the third quarter. Just fantastic basketball from the boys in black. Here's a shot, clanks off the rim by Martin. McGrath will take it into the front court. McGrath leaves it off. Pernell Myers will pump. Shaw trying to get open, and he does, and puts up off the glass and scores. Another nice shot inside by Brendan Shaw. We have not seen him from 3 yet, but been very efficient from 2. Nice save by Beal, and it'll be caught by Norton. Norton pass across. Here's a deep 3 by Martin, and he flings it. The Eagles are trailing, but they have been money from 3, and they continue to be. Shaw will give it back to Pernell Myers. Gets the screen by Shaw. Looks like the Eagles are back into their zone defense. Tebow, nice steps, and he scores off the glass. The freshman has really been coming on these last few games.
Yeah, great work by Tebow there. He recognizes the defense and just walks right through it. That was Phoenix Norton, number 3, a senior, fouled on the fast break. He'll head to the line. Chance for, I believe, his first points of the night. Norton
will make it.
is. First points of the night, Phoenix Norton.
Cuts that lead down to 12, which of course you can tell thanks to our scoreboard managed by Bryce Gerrish and sponsored by Singer Domingo Portside Real Estate Group.
Dragons now pretty deep into the bench now. They've got 3 non-starters in, likely to close this quarter with 40 seconds remaining.
Here is McGrath. We'll give it to Quinn. Quinn surveys, finds his fellow Owen and McGrath. McGrath into the paint, surrounded by Eagles, and slams hard into the floor. Will be helped up by Tebow and Pernell Miles.
Yeah, I'd say it's a pretty easy call for the referee to make.
Tebow will sub back out for Brendan Shaw here in the last 25 seconds. Shaw will find Quinn. Quinn is open from beyond the arc. Inside, caught Moore. Dragons will probably try to get the last shot here. Moore will take it though and score. Lennox Moore some crafty footwork inside, and he extends the Dragon lead to 13, and that's the largest it's been. Here is Beal, won't fall, maybe a buzzer beater here with a couple seconds. Pernell Myers will put it up and will not hit the backboard.
Yeah, why take the last shot, Robert, when you can just bully guys in the paint, take it in, and get the easy 2 for Lennox Moore?
Fantastic quarter basketball there by the Dragons. They outscored the Eagles 21-8. Brendan Shaw has 10 points. Rylan Lay has 12. Interesting, Ethan, Rylan Lay last season led the team in BHSN Player of the Game Awards. And I looked this year, he actually is yet to have one. Despite him having a 30-point performance earlier this season, that Player of the Game did go to Humberto Moyenga. So maybe this is finally Lay's moment to get his first BHSN Player of the Game of the year.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm not sure these stats are up to date. I don't believe the numbers that we're looking at here from Kaz Kosinski.
Yeah, they don't add up to 51.
Add up to 51, so we hope that we can get an up-to-date reading for you. I do think Brendan Shaw might have overtaken Rylan Lay.
Yeah, I would agree.
In that quarter. So it'll be interesting to see. We might check in with varsity Maine Cooper Sullivan maybe at the end of the game and try to get a more accurate reading for you. In fact, you want to do that now, Robert?
Yeah.
Cooper Sullivan, one of those guys working for varsity Maine. You can find them on Instagram, providing coverage of teams in the Brunswick area. Robert, what's the report?
We're still getting those counted at the moment.
All right.
Both players have 12. So, Kaz was awfully close. Here is Shaw. We thank you once again, Cooper Sullivan, for those stats at Varsity Maine on Instagram. Nice block there by McGrath on Emery.
Yeah, not sure why that wasn't a shooting foul. Emery seemed to be in the shooting motion when his arm was just slapped down by McGrath. Nonetheless, not the worst thing to happen for the Dragons.
Inbound here, caught again by Martin. Inside Emery, back to Martin. Here is Hiltz for 3, and he drains it. Sorry, that is Noah Duncan. Off the bench, number 5 in white, Duncan with a nice 3. Eagles have once again been great from beyond the arc tonight. Lay will fall, and it will be Eagle basketball as he lost it out of bounds. Martin will inbound. Lofts it up, caught by Beal. Beal into the front court, he's doubled. We'll find Martin. Martin gives it off Zulamis, puts up the jumper and drains it for the Eagles. It's an 8-point ball game. Here's Gray. Gray will hang up, give it to Lay. Lay top of the key. Takes it inside. Outside, here's Quinn. McGrath is open. McGrath inside. Puts it up off the glass, won't fall, and draws the foul.
Yeah, you could hear the audible slap on the hand there as the Dragons are going to hope to get some points here. The Eagles came out to a strong start after the timeout, draining a 3, and then followed up with the 2 by Logan Zulamis, cutting the lead down to single digits.
Looks like Bryce Gerrish got kicked out of our scoreboard. Ethan, I got you. Ethan, take over for a moment.
McGrath is going to go 0 for 2 from the free throw line as ball is fed in there to Lay. Quinn now back out to Shaw. Shaw almost lost it there, but able to find his teammate in Lay as he is called for a travel.
Yeah, a lot of travels today, Ethan.
That is correct, and a lot mainly on the Dragons. We've seen a few called on the Eagles, but it's been heavily favored towards the Dragons.
Here is Emery. Emery up the court, caught by Duncan. Noah Duncan will find Emery, hits off his hand and out of bounds. Lay will inbound from the baseline. Nonchalantly will give it to Brendan Shaw. Shaw to Lay. Lay finds an open McGrath. McGrath into the paint, surrounded. Quick passing back to Lay. To Shaw. Ray will make the catch. Quinn cutting towards him, and he'll give him basketball. Here is Shaw now. Shaw passes to McGrath. McGrath is open from three, won't take it. Eagles look to be back in that zone. Here's Shaw. Shaw will survey, content to run some clock here, leading by 8 in the fourth quarter. Gray will cut around. Build a triangle rotation for the Dragons. Here's Gray to Shaw. Dragons still just killing a ton of clock. McGrath will still survey. Here's to Lay. No shot clock in high school basketball. Lay off the glass. Won't fall. But an on-the-arm foul, and Lay will take two.
Robert, this would be a good time to mention the girls' game that is going to follow this one. You can see the Brunswick team watching there in the corner behind Lay as he takes a shot. That is scheduled for 7 p.m. I assume that might have an earlier start, but that will be here live on BHSN, commentated by Kaz Kosinski and Liam Raposa. Liam Raposa's debut on BHSN on the mic.
Yeah, on the mic. He did film one girls' basketball game last week, but yeah, good to see Raposa. We'll see how he does. I'm sure it'll be great.
Spreading the wealth, getting some younger guys on there. Hopefully we can continue strong next year.
Norton. Now back here to Beal from Martin. Guarded by Quinn. Beal will lay it off for Emery, but blocking foul.
Yeah, I know. As we talk about that girls game later, it made me think this is really the only Brunswick-Mount Ararat matchup that we're going to see this entire winter season. The Mount Ararat hockey team, unable to field a team this year, ended up combining with Lewiston, and so they don't face the hockey team. Similar situation for the girls hockey. The wrestling teams are actually combined. The swimming teams are combined at this point. Unsure about alpine and Nordic skiing, or if I'm missing any other sports. But this is one of the few matchups between Brunswick and Mount Ararat this winter.
An air ball by Jack Martin. Good to see both student sections remaining strong and loud, as they will have the double header afterward. Ten-point lead for the Dragons.
We'll take a moment here to pass the microphone over to Jeremiah Bequetti. Jeremiah, you got some nachos from the Mount Ararat Snack Shack. How are they tasting so far?
Like that. That's just so good, bro. So far.
All right. Rave reviews from Jeremiah Bequetti on the Mount Ararat nachos. Might have to get some of those in between the game.
Yeah, it might just have to. Once again, thank you for joining us here in Brunswick High Sports Network. Ethan Patterson and myself, Robert Bowen, on the microphone as well as the camera. Bryce Gerrish on our scoreboard, sponsored by Singer Domingo Portside Real Estate, and Kosinski is theoretically doing in-game stats, but I don't know, Ethan.
He's trying, Robert. He's trying.
We will be on the call for that girls' game after this. Here's Martin. We'll give it up to Beal, guarded tightly by Shaw still. Still have not seen a deep Zulamis shot in a while. You can see Tebow really pressing him. Does not want him to be free from beyond the arc. Gray with a swat out of bounds will stay with the Eagles.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Zulamis has been quiet from deep recently, and that's kind of what was working for the Eagles' favor in the first half. So I think if the Eagles want to turn this around, we might see a return of that. If Zulamis gets hot, that's going to be dangerous.
Here is Beal, working on Shaw once again. Here's Norton. Tebow still face guarding Zulamis. Will not let him get any space to get open for a pass. Not sure if that was a pass or a shot there by Phoenix Norton, but I am sure that it's Dragon basketball.
Yeah, a little indecisive on that one, maybe.
Here's Shaw. Will fire inside, caught Lay. Lay, the fadeaway, won't go. Zulamis with the rebound. Will give it up to Beal. Beal across, caught Martin for three. Clanks out. McGrath bounces to Gray. Gray will take it inside, switches hands, spins outside Lay, won't try the three, gives it off to Tebow. Tebow, he'll step back, find McGrath. Gray makes the V cut, McGrath doesn't give it to him, now bounces inside to Lay. Lay, Tebow's open for three. He's got it! The freshman extends the Dragon lead to 13 to the roar of the Dragon faithful.
Yeah, Tebow had a pretty quiet start to the year, but in these past few games, we've seen him turn it up a bit. He has, I think, at least 5 points tonight after that three. He had a good amount of points the other night as well. So Jackson Tebow, just the youngest guy on the team, starting to find his rhythm here as we get into the second half of the season.
Yeah, I believe that's 7 points for number 40 in black. Shaw will poke it out of bounds, stays with Mount Ararat. Norton from the baseline. Tries to give it to Hiltz. Will now give it Shaw with the save and the steal. McGrath, a rocket to Tebow, and he's up to 9 points. Jackson Tebow on fire for Brunswick.
Jackson Tebow, I just saw him laughing, talking to Logan Zulamis, ended up ditching him, and then found the 2-point.
Here's Martin. Martin will survey. Tries to find Zulamis, and it goes out of bounds. Credit to that tight defense by Tebow.
Yeah, some miscommunications here in the last little bit for the Eagles. They struggled to get the inbound in their own defensive side.
Great, wide open is McGrath. He has more open inside. He'll instead throw it off the leg of Lucian Martin. Basketball will remain with the Dragons. Shaw will find Gray, makes the catch, gives it to McGrath. Shaw trying to get open on Norton. McGrath will give it to the hot hand Tebow. Tebow pivots, finds McGrath. McGrath inside, will step back.
Looks like we have a foul incoming on Logan Zulamis.
More from the offensive baseline. Gray gets open. Rocket to McGrath. McGrath will loft it, caught by Tebow. Just 2:50 to go. Dragons with a comfortable lead. Moore will pivot, put it up off the glass, won't fall. Zulamis collects for the Eagles. Gray with a steal. Could we see? Oh, I think everybody on the stream, everybody in the building wants to see a Logan Gray dunk. I think that's the goal here for the last 2 minutes and 30 seconds with the lead comfortably in the hands of Brunswick.
Yeah, if we don't see a dunk today, and we haven't seen it so far, I think it'd be safe to say that the recent events have changed Logan Gray's play style just a little bit.
Well, with the game with the game comfortable, we got to see it. We really got to see him get one fast break on his own and throw one down, and we'll see how long he hangs on the rim for. Zoulamis finally allowed to take a deep shot, but he won't make it. Here is Shaw. Will underarm it to McGrath. Lay finds Tebow. Now to McGrath. Now Ararat back in the man defense. Here is Gray. Gives it to Tebow. Tebow will bounce, find Lay. Lay will take it inside. Outside caught Tebow, quick pass to Shaw. Shaw will wait. Guarded by Norton, finds McGrath. The Dragons content to run off as much time as possible. And a whistle. On the arm foul.
Yeah, on the arm foul, number 13, Daniel Beal. Timeout. Not sure who called that timeout. But nonetheless, minute 36 remaining. Dragons with a comfortable 15-point lead. This is more of what we expected to see, not of what we saw in the first half, Robert.
Yeah, the Dragons certainly are a second half team. It's something you don't love to see when they're going to be playing very good teams soon. Brewer has Ollie Higgins, who is 6'10". I'm not sure how the rest of that Brewer team is, but I do know they have Ollie Higgins, who's 6'10". And then they play Camden Hills, currently probably the best team in the state with the best player in the state in Nolan Ames. That is a week from Friday. You really don't want to be getting off to such slow starts.
Yeah, and that's going to be a hostile environment up in Camden. This is kind of you're getting a little bit of a taste of it here, but still about half of this gym is on the Brunswick side, and so that's going to be a tough one for sure. Camden Hills, I believe, still undefeated on the season, so Dragons will definitely have their hands full.
Yeah, Camden Hills is number 1 in Class A North, and Brunswick is number 2, 9-0 and 9-2 respectively. I believe that game against Ollie Higgins and Brewer is this Friday, and then I'm not sure who they play early next week during midterms, and then that Friday is the Nolan Ames game. Very excited for that. Gray does remain in the game, no big substitutions, so the hope for a dunk stays alive. Here's Tebow, and he'll get to double digits.
Yeah, Tebow up to 9 now.
I think that's 11.
Is it 11?
I really do. Norton tries the 3, off the back of the rim, and a rebound by Tebow. Shaw, full court double, 17-point lead for the Dragons.
Yeah, a little bit of freeze tag there by the Eagles. Pretty hopeless at this point, just a minute 12.
And now we'll see the subs. Maybe Gray can get a dunk here in the final second off. Maybe Shaw can hit it off the rim. Gray will come in, get the rebound, and slam one down. I kind of doubt it, though, folks.
Yeah, maybe he just steals it from Brendan Shaw here and just goes and yams it down.
I think everybody would cheer decently loud if he did that, but Gray will exit. A valiant campaign from the Dragons starters. Swain, Finn White, Declan Taberge enter the floor.
Yeah, see, a play like that might get Logan Gray banned from the MPA.
Yeah, probably forever. Might have to go to Kent's Hill. Here's Zoulamis. Taberge will get the steal, give it back to Shaw. He's pressured again. Shaw will remain with possession, though, and finally be fouled and drained with a 3 after the whistle.
Yeah, they're trying to get Brendan Shaw out of the game right now. They got Gabe Pernell-Amaya sitting on the floor, but they just can't get him in because the Eagles keep fouling Shaw, and Shaw just has to head to the free throw line.
Now Ararat is in the bonus now, so every foul will be shots for Shaw. That one will spin around and out. Shaw again. Swishes his second, and now he will finally be allowed to exit the court. A great game from the senior. we'll see him in calculus tomorrow morning.
Exactly. You know, Dragons took out their starting lineup, but still, this is a pretty formidable roster they got out here. All of these guys seeing some time, so there's really no let up from the Dragons here.
Foul on Norton. I must say, Ethan, it's an 18-point game. There's 53 seconds left. I guess Mount Ararat being such a great three-point shooting team, they really don't think they're out of it, but I don't know. I feel like I'd be ready to stop spam fouling.
Well, I appreciate it. You know, they're trying to make a crazy comeback on BHSN, of course, probably trying to make us go viral.
Yeah, that's a good point. That might get on SportsCenter, 18-point comeback in 53 seconds. But Ethan also has to get to hockey practice, so.
And Robert to lacrosse practice.
Pernell Ameyas will miss both. Hilts up the court. Here's Zulamis, guarded by Finn White. Shot will be fielded by Pernell Ameyas, and will Mount Ararat let Pernell Ameyas run some clock? Looks like they will. Moore will dribble with 30 seconds left. Finds Pernell Ameyas. Will the Dragons just run out the rest of this clock? Alan Swain will find White, and White will throw it out of bounds.
Yeah, I thought that might have been tipped just based on the flight path of that pass, but I guess not.
See if the Eagles will try one last shot here to build some momentum. Here's Beal. Will reverse shot that, and now Moore. He will dribble it out. And the Dragons travel across the brand new Gray Bridge and defeat the rival Mount Ararat 61-43.
Yep, Dragons doing what we expected them to do. A little scary in that first half, of course. We ended 30-30, but the Dragons really turned it around. They come away with an 18-point victory here, Robert.
Yeah, as per usual, a slow first half, but then a 31-13 second half that they did win, and a pretty dominating performance. No Logan Gray dunks that we saw, but maybe we'll see some on Friday when the Dragons host Ollie Higgins and the Brewer Witches.
All right, is it the time we've all been waiting for? Should we name the BHSN player of the game, Robert?
Yeah, I think we're ready. Okay. I think let's say it at once. Let's see if we're on the same wavelength. Okay. I'm not signaling to you in any way. Let's go. 3, 2, 1. Jackson Shaw.
Okay. You know what? I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with Shaw though too.
Definitely a career night from Jackson Tebow. You know, obviously can we give out half BHSN player of the games?
Absolutely not. That is the most blasphemous thing I think I've ever heard.
Should we settle it with some rock, paper, scissors?
Yes, we will. And I win the rock, paper, scissors. Well, I'm just joking. He did rock. I got scissors. Brendan Shaw is your BHSN player of the game. He had more than 12 points. We don't know the full total, but I think it probably was around 15, 16. Great performance from the senior.
Yeah, Brendan Shaw had a tough task tonight of guarding Logan Zulamis. I think it's kind of switched around. At one point, Jackson Tebow and Rylan Lay were guarding him. So overall, strong performance from the Dragons. We will be back. I think
soon.
We're gonna end this stream,
Yes,
and then
we will.
we'll start a new stream, and we'll have Kaz Kosinski and Liam Raposa on the mic for the girls' game.
Yeah, that'll be coming up. I urge you all to take a nice break and then refresh your YouTube page and log right on for that game with Kaz. But that's all from Ethan and I, Ethan Patterson, Robert Bowen, on the microphone, as well as the camera, Bryce Gerrish, on the scoreboard sponsored by Signaling Up Portside Real Estate. We'll be back awfully soon. Dragons boys basketball wins the first of the double-header rivalry.